What's up, YouTube family? Real quick, if you could just like, comment, subscribe, that helps out the show so much. Now, let's get into it. If you think a situationship is going to turn into a relationship, you are a first-class ticket to Delulu land. By you stating that you want a situationship, you lose the respect of a man that you're trying to receive a relationship with. You're saying, this is my value, and this is how you could treat me.
The SelfHype Podcast.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to the SelfHype Podcast. It's your boy, Eli Vasquez, brought to you by Chobo Studios, and we are diving into a good one. Are you a rent-a-girlfriend? Are you a side piece? Are you a Gameboy Girlfriend? Are you a Tamagotchi with curves? Are you just a distraction versus something that should be real? And if you are, what to do about it and how to get out of it in efficiently as possible while checking yourself and your own self-love and your own self-worth in the process. So let's get into it. What's up, y'all? So this week, I want to do a little check-in too. You probably, Eli, how are you doing? The four people who listen to this. How's Eli doing? How's his spirit? How's his spirit doing? During the time of this recording, a few weeks back, I did my South by Southwest talk. So this has been a dream of mine to be at South by, to be at a multi-day conference, like a prestigious multi-day conference. I put this on my vision board years ago, and I finally did it. And it happened way faster than I even thought of it was going to happen. And the crazy thing is, it was like, I put this on my vision board not knowing exactly what it was going to be. South by was something that I was like, sure, in a million years. But I knew I wanted to do some sort of conference. But I just visualized it. And then I saw the South by Southwest application. And I was like, screw it. I'm just going to go for it. The way I move now, and mind you, I'm not saying this is easy, but the way I move, if I am not receiving failures by the end of the week, it wasn't a good week. If I'm not taking any L's, if I'm not facing any rejections by the end of the week, I ain't grinding hard enough. I ain't going for it enough. I am not expanding enough. Because I understand the one thing that held me back in my life was rejection. And I realized, based on working towards my goals and grinding, that the correlation of what you can view as a sign of progress is the fact that you're getting rejected. And not so much try and try again, but also figure out why you got rejected and try again. So I'm like, screw it. I'm just going to apply, had the experience of applying. So I applied about how to hack the social media and the device in our pocket to serve us. And the story of my personal story of working at BuzzFeed, making multi-viral hits and having a mental health breakdown, being in the worst position of my life, financially, mental health wise, physical health wise, every distraction you think of, that was me, because I couldn't sit with myself. I couldn't love myself. I didn't feel like a home. So pretty much I shared my story about how I hacked the algorithm working at BuzzFeed to work with me to help me out of my mental health struggle. So anyway, I apply 4,600 applications, damn near 5,000, not thinking I'm going to get anything. I get an email about a month later or so saying, hey, you're the top 300. I'm like, yo, this is good news. This is fantastic. I'll take this win. Even if I end up not getting it, it's all Gucci. And then I got the email saying, congratulations, you are an official speaker at South by Southwest. And if y'all don't know, like my grandma and my whole family, Obama spoke there. So not to make this a long-winded rant about me, but I'm coming off the high of that. It was such a big high, so I feel like I'm crashing. So I feel like there's like a space of like maybe tiredness or having to restore my energy or spirit. So you may see me on a beach just chillaxing soon, because that was an intense era of my life, but also a milestone. So make sure you celebrate your milestones. Make sure you normalize rejection. Make sure you just keep it moving. And if anything, I might do a little check-in with Eli and give some life lessons in the beginning of the episode. Not sure if that makes sense. I'll talk to Indy and Victoria about it, but we'll see. Are you a rent-a-girlfriend? Are you just a glorified side piece? Are you? Listen, I know I get the majority of my listeners from these TikTok streets. I am a personal wellness coach. I focus on personal development, but let's be honest, we love to hear about where we stand with somebody. What is he thinking? What is Kyle? Even though you know you shouldn't talk to him, you know damn well you shouldn't, and your mom told you not to talk to him anyway, but you are, because he's fun. You're wondering where you stand with him. I get it. So in this episode, I'm going to dive into what the hell a rent-a-girlfriend is, dive into situationships, dive into pocket girlfriends, Gameboy girlfriends, I call them, and how to see where you stand with the guy and then what to do about it while checking yourself. So let's get into it. Rent a girlfriend. What is it? What does it mean? What is it all about? Like, what's up, y'all? I know you guys are enjoying the show, but real quick, I just want to talk about the Patreon. Patreon, you get early access to episodes, bonus content, and you could even ask a question that gets on the show. It's patreon.com/selfhype. Now, let's get back to it. Rent a girlfriend is essentially a man who uses you to play house with, a man that plays with your emotions, a man that plays games, a man that is able to brush your hair, kiss you on the forehead, wear thing one and thing two t-shirts at Universal. You could go to his Uncle Ray Ray's funeral and all that. Yet he can't commit. Yet he's like, yo, Eli, yo, Deborah, we got to take some time. Maybe let's give it some. Let's just see. And then the breadcrumb happens. Then the hot and cold happens. Then you find yourself in a lottery system type of love, a slot machine type of love, which is this going to be the day? Is this going to be the day he's going to want me? Is this going to be the day Kyle, a 5 at best, is going to come on down with his Monster Energy drink addiction and bless me with a relationship? We'll see. And also, when I say we'll see, it's never going to happen. So here's the thing. A man could play house with you forever while look for his wife. And you need to understand the fact that if he did all the work and had all the skills and knew all the game to get you into a bedroom, why can't he get you into a relationship? And you're hearing it from your boy straight up, because I've been there. And you got to see this thing as we know as men. And if we had enough riz to do it, we know as men, in order to keep you interested, we have to keep you interested. So if he's able to use those skill sets to that certain point, why can't he take it a step further? And it's really important that you don't step into Delulu land wondering, well, it's only been 2 months. Well, it's only been 6 months and he just lost his job. Well, it's only been 2 years, but he's going through a lot right now because the divorce and his kid doesn't talk to him anymore. And I'm blaming you at that point. If you are a rent-a-girlfriend, if you are a side piece, if you are a situationship hoping to graduate to the big leagues, and it's been that long, I'm checking you at that point. So this is why men do it. And you're probably thinking, Eli, why would he do all these things? Why would he do all these things? Why would he put so much energy into me and still hook up with other people? Well, that's the difference between men and women a lot of times is when it comes to the physical, there is no emotional. Why you look at the old school movies and hear about celebrities and hear about all that. Men will hook up without even caring about what she does for a living, without even caring about, the qualities that she has to make him feel safe. They don't care. It is a moment. And think of Tinder as Uber Meets. I feel like getting a cheeseburger today. I feel like getting, some Panda Express today. I feel like getting spaghetti today. That's generally how it's speaking. And this is coming from men that are immature, men that can't tell it like it is, men for a lot of things, because men can communicate. And I don't want to be ranting off about men thinking, well, he's just like everybody else then. No, he's an emotional, immature potato because he's being selfish. If he's playing rent a girlfriend, he knows that you like him. He knows that he's playing around with you, and he knows that he's taking advantage of a situation because he gets consistent and consistent emotional support while he's going out and doing his damn thing. So it's really important that you sit and really reflect, who am I in this situation? Who am I in this position with this person? You got to look at the checklist in terms of the rent-a-girlfriend. You got to look at the checklist when it comes to situationship. Situationship's a little more open. Hopefully, if you're in a situationship, you're at least self-aware that you're in one. And at least you could take some accountability for that. Some people that are in the rent-a-girlfriend stage, that is when it gets super emotional, super intimate, super like, oh, this feels like a relationship. This isn't cool. A situationship could be chill, but it requires communication. I always say if you're in a situationship, it's still a ship. And no matter what that ship is, it takes two people to communicate to steer that ship so it doesn't crash. Situationships are meant to end. Also, just FYI, not sure if anyone's aware of that. Situationships are meant to end. They're destined to end. And the goal is not so much Well, we're just going to be friends after. No, because no boyfriend's going to be okay with that. After this man, claps your cheeks in the Tri-County area, and then all of a sudden you guys are going to go out and get mimosas after you're with another man. No, it's not going to happen. Nor will a woman be okay with it either. So that friendship idea is out the window, unless you want to lie to your partner. So have fun with that when it comes out. Second thing is, it turns into a relationship. If you think a situationship is going to turn into a relationship, you are a first class ticket to Delulu land. By you stating that you want a situationship, you lose the respect of a man that you're trying to receive a relationship with. You're saying, this is my value and this is how you could treat me. If you think your situationship is going to turn into a relationship, you are on a first class ticket to an all inclusive resort, which is Delulu land. All right. Because the second you agree to be anything less than a relationship, a man will lose respect for you. Point blank. You're saying, this is how you could treat me. This is what I normalize. And this is what I let other men do to me as well. Now, I know it's frustrating because it's like, well, he's agreeing to this. Yeah, he is. Yes, he's agreeing to it to see what you would do. You have a better chance of getting with a man by sitting on your own two toes, sitting on your feet and saying, listen, I want a relationship and that's it. And if that doesn't serve you, then keep it moving versus being a pick me girl saying, well, as long as I'm around him, maybe he'll change his mind. Maybe he'll see the great qualities of me. No, he already said in the very beginning, you ain't going to be my girlfriend for whatever reason it is. But I like you enough to hook up with you. Again, it goes back to what we're talking about where a man could hook up and have the rent a girlfriend and still look for his wife. There are no emotions in the physical game. Some things could brew. There's some jealousy that can be involved, but we could talk about that Maury Povich ratchet activity later because that's next level toxicity when it comes to a man. If he's being selfish with you and not allowing you to talk to other people, but he could do whatever he wants. Don't think that, oh, he loves me. No, he's just being straight up selfish and like a child. The big thing when it comes to situationships is it's meant to end. It's meant to end. So if you're in a ship, you have to communicate what that ship is. We're going to try to glide when we crash land. We're not going to smash into the ground, but let's try to glide. So that means we ain't going to kiss each other's foreheads. If someone gets jealous, we're going to call it out. We ain't going to be holding hands because if you do those things and if you don't set parameters, then you're going to turn into a rent-a-girlfriend. That's where you graduate into that all-inclusive resort upgraded room that is called Delulu Land. Because now you're putting your emotions into it. Now you're getting caught up. Now you're going to feel insecure. Now you're going to feel jealous and anxious. And the worst thing, you're not going to feel safe. And then you're going to end up start beating yourself up by putting yourself in that situation. It's very important that we sit down and break down where are we with this person and how many excuses are enough. Because how precious is your time? Men will play games with you forever. Men will keep you in the gray zone forever because it's fun, because they get all their needs met. They get their emotions with you and the physical with somebody else. And they will keep it moving with you until they actually find their wives. And that's when they'll break up with you. And you're sitting around with a couple years later wondering, I'm so dumb. I'm so dumb. I really thought this was going to happen. And I'm telling you, from a man, it's never going to. And I'm not talking about your friend Charisse, who dated this one guy that it worked out 2 years ago, but guess what? They broke up. It only lasted 6 months. So it's really important to hit on what a man's thinking in terms of keeping you as a side piece, keeping you as not fully committal, keeping you as something, because we know how to, but we're choosing not to. And we're going to give you all the breadcrumbing in the world as long as you keep eating it. So the big thing you need to realize is that there's 8 billion damn people in this world. One of them's going to love you, but I need you to believe the fact there is someone out there that does. And even going even further, I need you to believe the fact that you deserve to have a standard high enough where it makes you feel uncomfortable. Because that's the only reason why you're with this dusty ass right now. There are so many men that are flying over your heads because your standards are too low. And that is why you're wasting all this time with hoping someone will want you, even though they're consistently showing you that you are not enough for them. And you're dictating that as your sense of self-worth. A man you don't even know that well. A man that's just spitting game bi-weekly. Like, what are we even talking about here? A man that's going to put you on layaway and then you're just going to sit there at a Target just collecting dust because he never shows up. Like, is that the world we're living in? Is that how hard you work? That's how hard your mama worked raising you, busting her ass, getting so you could be on layaway collecting dust for a man named Kyle that's addicted to Red Bulls? No, that's not what we're here for. So it's really important that you check yourself with the words that I'm saying here. It's really important that you check yourself on what we're even doing. Because again, we will do it forever. And it's something else I got to hit on, and I got to double down on this. You ask a man, any man, what's worse, emotional cheating or physical cheating? 100% of the time, they're going to say physical cheating. They don't give a damn about emotions. They care about physical cheating because they know how they do what they do with ladies, with you. And if you let another man dominate you, that's the worst thing a man could feel for the woman he cares about. Keyword cares about again, the woman he cares about. Now, if he is saying, listen, I'll see you when I see you. I'll text you on Saturday. I'll holler at you when it's convenient. That's literally saying you're for the streets. We hear the streets all the time. I say swamplands because it gets real ratchet out here. I'll get you when I get you. I'll get you when it's convenient for me because I don't see you as rare. I don't see you as precious. I don't see you as unique. You're hot. I don't see you as this rarity because if you are rare, that's something I'm going to protect. That's where my protective qualities of a man comes in. I want to protect you. I want to keep. I want to build a fence around you, girl. Ain't nobody hopping over this fence. This is mine's. But he's not doing that. He doesn't see you anything more than a public park where he'll visit when it's convenient and someone else could take their turn when they can. Because if that wasn't the case, why isn't he committing to you? Because essentially what he's saying by not committing to you is saying the streets could have you. I'll tab my turn when I have my turn. Or if he wants to be jealous, that's not because, oh, he loves me, Eli, I got to give him another chance. Again, no, that's next level ratchetivities. That's next level emotional regulation, selfishness. Because then what? And then if you even follow him and say, oh, I'm not going to holler at anyone, even though we haven't established what we are. Girl, what are we doing? I don't think I could upgrade you anymore in Delululand, the resort. You already maxed it out. You got the drink package and everything. I don't think you could get any more Delulu than that. So maybe get a timeshare. I'm not sure. But it's really important that you be able to realize that because then what? This man has full control over you. This man has full control. Now, you're telling me this man pretty much has full control over you if that's the case. I want to keep it moving a little more. And I brought up Gameboy Girlfriend. And I know some of y'all like Gameboy Girlfriend. What's Gameboy Girlfriend, Eli? Gameboy Girlfriend is what's up, y'all? I know you guys are enjoying the show, but real quick, I just want to talk about the Patreon. Patreon, you get early access to episodes, bonus content, and you could even ask a question that gets on the show. It's patreon.com/selfhype. Now, let's get back to it. You're just a distraction. You're not the PlayStation. He doesn't even care enough to take you home. He doesn't care enough to initiate a date. He doesn't care enough to even schedule something with you. But he'll holler at you. He'll text you. He'll flirt with you. Maybe he'll jump on a phone call, and just throw out some risk. But nothing happens. You're just like, okay, I've been hollering at this guy for months, for weeks. He has not initiated a date. He has not initiated to see me. He didn't even he hasn't even hit me up while he was wasted on a Saturday at 2 a.m. What is going on here? He's hollering at me. He's giving me attention. What's going on? You're a Gameboy girlfriend. You are the pocket-sized girlfriend that is his distraction to stroke his ego while he's in transit to play his PS5. He likes you, but he doesn't care enough to fully invest in you or even care enough to even see you physically. Well, why would he do this, Eli? Why would he spend this much time and energy and text and flirt with me and do all these things? Because it's fun for men. It's fun. You really got to sit down and just realize the fact of how we grew up rather than just punching a wall and getting angry and sad about why dudes are the way they are. Take a second to understand them for a second. All right. And understand the fact that when you guys were babies, your toys were babies. Your toys were a kitchen. Your toys were Barbie and Ken managing their finances at the Barbie Dreamland house. You were already training to be emotionally receptive, emotionally giving, emotionally receiving, and caretaking at an early age. Now, I'm not saying that should be normal. I'm just saying that's how it was versus and then not only that, you graduate into watching your Disney movies where you start alone and the goal is to be with a man at the end of the story. And then you graduate into rom-coms where you're an overworked marketing executive who has to work in this small town, falls in love with this guy that owns a tractor and discovers the spirit of Christmas and gives up your career dreams. This is what you guys grew up digesting. Is it okay? I don't think so. Is it fun and entertainment? Sure, but that could really create a skew of someone else's psyche of wanting to consistently find romance, and particularly romance does not serve them because we're built on the societal standard that if I have someone, then I matter. If I'm married, then I matter. If I have the house, then I matter because that's what I literally have been instilled since I was a little girl. Now, I say all this as an example to build perspective because right now, a lot of people are out in the clubs looking for love. You'll see it even on the Ratchet, Love is Blind. There are ladies there's just people in general wanting to just be wanted. What happens if someone gets rejected? Then they'll find the other person and say, "It was always meant to be you, David." Then David's like, "Oh, sorry, I fell in love with Deborah." Oh God. And she'll run, drink like 18 golden glasses of wine, and then run back into another room. "Steve, it was always meant to be you, Steve." And Steve's like, "Oh, I mean, I'm just not vibing with anybody." Like, oh my God. She runs back, drinks 8 more golden glasses of champagne, runs into another room. Ain't nobody there. Anyone there? I'll take anybody. It's the freaking custodian, and he's recently divorced. He's like, sure, why not? And then they go off and jet set in their venture. So a lot of people just want to be wanted because of this installation that we grew up at a young age of because that mattered. That was the ultimate thing that mattered. But now I'm going to flip the script a little bit. Now we're going to deep dive into men. We grew up completely opposite of all of it. We grew up conquering. We grew up winning. We grew up being better than the next man. I grew up watching wrestling. I grew up watching 90s old school attitude wrestling when you used to beat the hell out of your friends, beat the hell out of your brothers, beat the hell out of all of it to be the champion. Not only that, I watched X-Men, I watched Spider-Man, I watched Ninja Turtles. Ain't none of them got no wives. Ain't none of them talking about their finances. Ain't no one saying, "Oh, I got to put the kids to bed before we go fight crime and whoop Shredder's ass." Ain't no one doing that. We're just out conquering with our boys. We're out whooping ass and taking names. And what movies do we watch? We watch every Han Solo. I loved Han Solo growing up. He was a ladies' man. You look at Star-Lord, ladies' man. Like all these people are just, you're cool if you get the ladies. So on top of just the men you grow up seeing, the father figures you grew up seeing, and everything in between, you grow up with your boys saying, "I got to get numbers. I got to holler at girls. I got if I get more girls than my boys, then I matter. If I get numbers, then I matter. If I make out with her, I matter. If I hook up with her, then I matter." So notice how it's not even so much the emotions, it's the ego of winning, of conquering, of achieving a person. And not even you, but just a woman. So they could feel like they matter. So when people ask me, like, how do they have so much time? How do they have so much energy? They're not driven by emotion. They're driven by the insecurity of their ego. Because like I said, not all men are like this. I don't want you to be listening to this like, "I hate bad love love is awful. I want to be like old school, with my grandparents." Even though grandparents, different era. Jesus and cheating were chill, but um not all men are like this. Because you can get everything I just said without lying. You can get everything I just said without the breadcrumbs, without the hot and cold, without any of that. You can, but it requires who the man is in terms of his character, in terms of his integrity. It's like ghosting. That says everything about the person and not about you. That's a decision they made based on their character and their integrity. So by breadcrumbing you and miscommunicating you and BSing you, that says everything about them and nothing about you because they easily could say, your time is precious. I don't want to waste it. This is where I'm at in my life, and this is where you would stand. And if you're not cool with it, I totally understand. If this not works for you, I get it. I don't want to waste your time. And then you could be like, okay, at least he's honest. Maybe I don't want to be casual. You're right. Maybe that'll just lead to something. Actually, no thanks. I appreciate it. And maybe down the line, you'll be like, you know what? All these damn liars. At least that guy was honest. So, and I say all that because this was the one, and I don't know if I said this in past episodes, but I always love hitting on this. But my mom instilled this in me at an early age, and it took me years to get this right. Not saying that I'm Mr. Perfect, but she said, Eli, just be honest. Because as long as you're honest, you always have a second chance. And they may hate you today, but they'll respect you forever. And boy, was she right. But what it took for me to do that was to do the work on myself. When I was out on these streets doing ratchet activities and not communicating at my fullest, it was because I was really insecure. I was really insecure because I didn't want to lose them and I was too scared to have hard conversations and it was just uncomfortable and all that. And really, I didn't realize how precious time was. And my time was because I'm wasting your time too, because I'm wasting my time as well. All these men are also wasting their time by just hollering at you and playing games with you because it doesn't lead to anything. And if anything, it just leads to this dysfunction, arguments, and you're just wasting time with another individual. And then you got to sit with that. I'm not saying that every man has that conscience. I know I did. But once I did the work on me, once I started going to therapy, once I started diving into me and really raising my value and my vibration, oof, I realized how precious time was. So I wasn't afraid because I knew I was enough no matter what the answer was. I didn't have to play games to win you over. I know that I'm still fantastic when I look in the mirror. So I'm able to tell you directly how I feel, even if it leads to rejection. Because that's the big thing. No one wants to get rejected, including men. So they will play these games out of the safety of their own ego to not get rejected. So I just want to do a deep dive psychologically because I know the big question is why give me so much energy if you're not going to do anything? And that's the big thing. That's the big drive for men. That's the big distraction for men is holler at ladies. That's why ladies get ladies night. That's why you guys get free bottle service because the society knows men will show up. Men will spend money for the chance to holler at you. It's not the other way around for a reason. And that's why it all is the way it is. So with the Gameboy Girlfriend, again, they will message, they will holler out of stroking their own ego, and nothing will ever come of it. And it's really important that this is where you check yourself. This is where you check yourself. And I always say self-reflection is key. And when I work with my clients and everything else, they tell me all about these men, all about their ratchet activities, all about their actions, all about all that. And I always beg the question, then why are you in it? Without blaming him, without blaming anything about this man, why are you in this situation? Why are you in this situation? Well, you don't understand. He keeps texting me. He keeps saying that. He keeps saying, I don't give a damn. He showed you time and time and time and time and time again, and you keep enabling. Why haven't you checked out of Delululand? Why haven't you went on Google Flights and get back to Realityville? What's stopping you from going on Google Flights and getting out of there? There has to be something in here. There has to be something up here that's saying you're not enough, or saying that some sense of abandonment or something to win over, or your own ego of like, I put this much time in, I'm going to win them over. So it's really important that you ask yourself the hard question, why? And really define what the narrative is, because then we could start to break it. Because I ranted for a hot minute about where men are at and how they view you and all that. And men that play games love women that don't speak up for themselves. So if you sit with this, listening to my voice, and I'm like, you know what, Eli, I'm done with this. You're right, and all that. Then you need to have a conversation. And I doubt that he will care if he kept you on his side for this long, but he probably does feel protective. He probably does feel jealous if you did, probably hitting his ego if you do try to leave him. So it's really important you stand on your own 2 feet and verbalize and say, listen, it's going to be my way or the highway. It's going to be with me or without me. And I promise you, no matter what that answer is, they're going to respect you more because of it. Because don't forget, these men had women in their lives. They have women in their lives that they love and respect. So if you embody that and stand up for yourself, I'm like, okay, go off. I'm not going to be with you, but respect. All right. And the worst thing you could deal with is a man that can't respect that. A man that gets so hurt and so burnt out and so all that. That drives me nuts. I'm like, really? He's that selfish It's not because he loves you. It's because he's selfish. It's not because it means something. It's because he's selfish. And it's really important that you sit with that, even if he is bothering you, even if he is texting you, even if he won't leave you alone, because he's so used to owning you. And that not having you is triggering his ego. I'm not saying he does own you. I know that's a really strong word, but I'm saying it to prove a point. That's where his psychologically is. So I just say this word so you could push yourself to not to see this as him being selfish. Because I do not want you to go back to Delulu land after you did all the work to get out. So really important to define the narrative based on you. And then once you sit with the fact of like, okay, if I do nothing for another year, how would that make me feel? And if I do nothing for another month, how would that make me feel? Ooh, that doesn't feel good. Initiate that conversation. Say it's this way or that way. Even if you want to, you might just be over it. Just tell him it's done. And realize that any sense of defensiveness or manipulation or action of not leaving you alone is his ego and his ego alone. There are guys waiting. And as much as we think that we could do both, like we could, oh yeah, I could have this situationship and then find the love of my life. It's really hard to, because you got to have the honest question: am I emotionally entwined with this man? Because that's what happens with these side pieces, which gets really scary. But am I emotionally entwined with this man? And if that is the case, then you ain't properly looking for a man then. There's no way you're going to find the man that you should be with. And you're going to keep playing these games with him, because it may be a frozen dinner at the house. It may be nasty, ratchet, microwavable meat, but it's at least it's gonna stop you from going out and hunting for the elk that you deserve to receive. Because, oh, I got this microwave meat here. I'll just stay here and kick it. So it's really important you cut that off. If you're intentionally trying to find love and intentionally trying to find that person, it's really important that you cut off all those emotional entanglements that don't serve you, that are literally a waste of time, so you could properly receive it. What's up, y'all? I know you guys are enjoying the show, but real quick, I just want to talk about the Patreon. Patreon, you get early access to episodes, bonus content, and you could even ask a question that gets on the show. It's patreon.com/selfhype. Now, let's get back to it. I've worked with clients time and time again. And once they let go of that person, oh my God, opportunities galore come flooding in. It's important about your energy and the importance of where you're directing it and how much space you're giving your mind, body, and spirit in terms of the future of opportunities. I need you to look into the future and what does that love feel like, and only accept that and have the audacity to believe that you deserve to. And if you could do that and give yourself that reminder every single day, you're going to start subconsciously moving in directions and being around people and opportunities that are going to elevate and show you just that. But it starts with you having the audacity to look in the mirror and say, I love you and you deserve this. Because a lot of this rent-a-girlfriend situationship, wasting our time, hoping for potential, all this is really stemming from something even before dating. It's just triggering this lack of. And it's really important that you heal that so we don't fall into these pitfalls, because I'm gonna break it down to everyone right now. I've seen it time and time again since I was a little kid, with my family, with friends, with everybody. You keep getting caught up in these situationships. You keep getting caught up in these emotional entanglements that don't serve you. You keep enabling these behaviors. You're going to end up being a mom before you're a wife to the man that you should be with. And ain't nobody want that. And I will say it again for the people in the back. If you think a situationship's going to graduate to a relationship, that's like you doing water basketball at the YMCA, hoping a recruiter's going to come and sign you into the pros. It's not going to happen. He already made his decision the second he asked to have you be a side piece. And there's no going back from it. Thank you, everyone, for listening to the SelfHype podcast, brought to you by Chobo Studios. If you are interested in listening to more, getting early access, maybe listening to some bonus content from our guests and from your boy, and you could ask me questions for the show, link in the bio. You could join our Patreon. This is how we keep the show going. It's $5 a month. It's a cup of coffee. You can support your boy, get a bunch of extra perks, coaching, questions, all that. And we're homies for life. So consider checking it out. It keeps the lights on with us, and really appreciate y'all for listening. I'll see you next week.
The SelfHype Podcast.